Welcome in. Mad Talk Sports episode 47, special edition, in person and live today. We've got John in his second time on Mad Talk, and then a very first timer, Jay.
Hello.
Thank you for joining. The first test pilot run. John is here from the first time since his, rookie kind of like debut kind of thing when we went through the rookie draft class preseason, and Jay has got some takes he's been dying to share too. So I think we'll get through some of that, getting back to it. But as always, we start off with the medalists from week 11. So told you guys the rules already, but we're going to pick some people to give shout outs to. So it could be a team, position group, or individual player. Jay, kick us off with the bronze medal.
Bronze medal this week, I'm going to have to give to Jordan Love, Jaden Reed, that duo this week. I just thought, they showed a lot of glimpses of what could be coming here in the future of these next few years together. And, pretty explosive bunch by the looks of it this week, at least. So give them the bronze.
I would agree with that. That's a great duo. I had Jordan Love as my bronze too. So that's respect. Obviously, we're Packer fans. Jay didn't get a chance to say that, but Jay's also a Packer fan as well. So Drake isn't on here to counter us with some Steelers fandom. But objectively, Jay Love was cooking. And then Jaden Reed threw in a touchdown on the ground too. That was sick. Because Fur and I at the game, that was the play that got us going.
It's about time the Packers started doing some more of the end arounds again. They did that a lot last year.
I know.
Left it out.
Need more movement. But I like it, what we've seen the past 2 weeks with the Packers offense especially. So we'll talk about them again at some point, but shout out. John?
My bronze is going to go to Brandon Rory, I believe his name is. DB on the Eagles. Great game. Punch out against Travis Kelce to get him out of the red zone, but he was a big play and why the Eagles won that game, and to do that against the best tight end in the league is just outstanding, and he's very young, and I think he deserves that shout out. And it was probably one of the best defensive plays made from a DB from this week 11.
That mess up any of your parlays?
No, because it didn't. True. But he did play good. He did get a touchdown. Taylor Swift was not in attendance, so I did not bet on him. But
that was Drake's over of last week's episode. Was if Swift is there, over on the Kelce yards. So you kind of got to wait a long time to actually hit on that then, or know that information. But yeah, that's a good shout out because Kelce doesn't fumble very often. That was difference in the game. Silver medal, you got one locked and loaded, or you want Jay to kick us off again?
Silver medal definitely goes to Jordan Love.
There you go. Back
Absolute beast. Nobody's really talking about that performance as much as they should, but it was just all around. I think his passer rating was like a 108, and he was just dropping dimes left and right. And it was a good comeback from his previous weeks. But yeah, I'd say it was close to one of his best games all year, and he led the pack to a W, so he gets that silver.
You could argue it was his best game. First 300-yard performance of his career. That's a big one.
First 300-yard performance for a Packers QB since some point in 2021. So It's been a minute.
2
all of last year
years.
With Rodgers didn't even get one. So,
and even the last few weeks of his last MVP season, that's impressive too.
Mm-hmm.
So that this is the first time in a while. Which I don't know if that says more about Love and his growth or the Chargers defense being a bunch of stinkos, but it's credit where credit is due. For my silver, I got a former Packer, Radio Dougie, Rasul Douglas, silver medalist. It was 2 interceptions, correct? And he's making an immediate impact on a Bills defense that needed playmakers, and he's a beast. It's good to see him out there, especially as they stick around and hang around in the playoff conversation.
Mm-hmm.
It's
he had to play on that fumble too.
Yeah, he was just all over the field.
So that's definitely a good choice there. For me, I'm gonna give the silver medal. While I like the Douglas pick, I'm gonna go with Lamar Jackson here this week for the silver medal. Had a great game this week, even though he kind of, got a tweak injury in there in the mix, was able to come through and kind of shred up the Bengals defense.
Yep.
So definitely feel like he deserves a shout out there. I mean, the Ravens have kind of owned the Bengals for a bit now. So
Yep.
it's good to see him continue that. Plus, I got him in fantasy. But.
Got to respect that. And even when they lost in the playoffs last year, the Bengals, it was without Lamar, and it still came down to the fumble at the 1-yard line. The fumble in the jungle, as it's been remembered now, where, what was that, Hubbard or was that Hendrickson that returned that? Hendrickson?
Yeah. And then
he's on the oxygen tank. You sure? I feel like it was Hubbard.
I don't think so. I don't know.
All right. Either way, it was one of the linemen for Cincinnati took it 99 yards for the touchdown to flip the game. So respect to Lamar. We knew you had to give him some shout outs, and I'll sneak him in here again at some point too, so we can get your real thoughts on Lamar. And Jay's credit where credit is due. He's been an A1 since day one when it comes to Lamar Jackson and being his flag carrier.
It's a beast.
All right. But this week, who edged out Lamar for your gold medal?
This week for gold, got to give it to Brock Purdy and the Niners. But, emphasis on the Brock Purdy there. Put up a perfect passer rating. So that was the last time or first time that it's happened since Montana for the 49ers. So that's got to be just an exciting thing for that fan base and everyone involved in that organization to see. And, I mean, who doesn't love seeing a perfect passer rating game,
Makes you feel like Madden. And additionally, not only was it the first time since Montana, it was the only time for the Niners franchise. You think of Montana, you think of Steve Young. The only time that a perfect pass rating happened with more than 20 attempts in a game in franchise history. So that's shout out in Buccaneers. That's not a bad defense. They're not amazing. They're not the Browns, but they're not bad. So, I'm not a big Brock Purdy guy as far as like him being great, but he obviously had a great performance. So that's a good choice. He's can't be much more perfect than perfect.
Right.
Well, my gold wasn't necessarily the best performance of the week, but someone who I wanted to give a special shout out to, and that's Calvin Ridley, because he got back on things with 130 yards and at least one touchdown, if not two. He had a really good game, which I think the Jags offense is really needed and my fantasy teams needed in a couple of leagues. So that helps him get the edge because John in the league, the Conacher League, that got me the W.
I've seen you.
He's my best receiver in that league. It's a 14-team league. It's deep.
Yeah, that's a big league.
John, gold medalists.
I'm going to go back to the Eagle-Kansas City game because that was just a great game. Probably the best game all week, honestly. But, yeah, for them coming out trailing, A.J. Brown was getting locked up.
Yeah,
Snead was doing some work. But that's not who I'm going to give the gold medalist to, even though he was doing some great coverages out there. But it's going to go to the other receiver, Devontae Smith, because it was time for him to step up. He does step up a lot, but to be A.J. Brown having like one catch all game, you're not going to win a game as a team when your best receiver is getting one catch.
And a
guy like that, you expect A.J. Brown getting 11 targets, 7 to 8 catches, and 100 yards, at least a tub. So you expect a lot from him, and he didn't do it. Devontae Smith picked it up. They came back in the second half. Devontae Smith stacked beautifully on that corner. I don't know, it wasn't Snead, it was their other one. And he got that big catch that led him in to get that touchdown, their famous tush push. And he was getting catches all game long. I think he had like 6 catches, just over 100 yards. And he got just what they needed because nobody was doing anything on that Eagles offense besides Swift. Hurts was playing pretty bad, but he stepped it up. But really, Devontae Smith is what really helped him out.
He's what made that offense go?
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a good pick, especially if you think about degree of difficulty, because the Chiefs' defense is awesome. And if you think about it, they held Tyreek Hill to his worst game of the year with like 70 yards. So that's fair if he was able to have a lot of success in a game where offense was hard to come by. Well, that'll wrap up medalists. Now we got specific news to get into, and it's a shame that Drake can't be here because he has been literally carrying this flag for years now. And the title here is Matt Canada Canned. So he's out. Pittsburgh offensive coordinator is fired. And that's a really awful game they're coming off of in Cleveland, and this is the second coordinator fired in as many weeks after Ken Dorsey last week.
Yeah.
But specifically with Canada, he's the first coordinator Pittsburgh has ever fired midseason since 1941.
Oh, 41.
That's almost 100 years ago. That's 82
like
years ago.
Around the time that the Steelers and Eagles merged teams to become the Steagles.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that was right around that era.
That's insane. And so that's obviously it takes a special kind of bad for that to happen. Side note, as bad as he is and he's been, still had 5.5 yards per carry against the Packers. Hashtag fire Joe Barry. FJB as the flag will say soon.
True.
But back to the point itself, with Canada being fired, what's this mean for the Steelers, Jay?
Oh, I mean, it's great. You know, he's been terrible. I mean, their play calling's just been blah. And I mean, Kenny Pickett doesn't help at all. I don't really think personally, but you know, I feel like they could have been doing a whole lot more with, you know, that team. Just in general, even with Kenny Pickett, they could have been doing a lot more, and stale offense to say the least. And, I think a change of pace is better than sticking with whatever the hell they were trying to do there. So
I agree. Even if that's it, change of pace, because something, it just wasn't working. You got to do something.
I think it's good for them too. It might put a little hiccup in Kenny Pickett to get used to his new OC, but could also help him a lot. I feel like he's needed a new coordinator. I think he's a good quarterback personally. I liked him in college. I think he's done good things in the NFL. Steelers are a great organization historically. They're not going to draft Big Ben, a guy after Big Ben, and not have a lot of expectations for him and a lot of belief in him. And I think once he gets some years under his belt, he's going to really succeed, and this might help him this year. And when they get to the playoffs, it might help him make a little 1 or 2 game push in there and not just be bounced right away.
You said when they get to the playoffs, you officially writing them in?
Oh yeah, I remember when I was in the last podcast, I was saying I wouldn't be surprised if the Steelers were good this year and made a run to the playoffs.
And they definitely still can. I do think this needed to happen just because that offense is like you said,
but it is a stacked division. So
it is, but now the Bengals have no more Burrow. So that makes it a little bit more open.
Burrow.
And they're still 6-4. They're still in the playoffs. You got to think they still control their destiny, and they've got a very winnable game against Cincinnati this week. So we'll get to that later. My thoughts on what this means for the Steelers specifically is you talk about Kenny Pickett and how you believe in him, which I think he's got something. I wasn't big on him coming out of the draft, mostly because of the whole fake slide thing, if I'm being totally honest. I know you did. But back to – so I wasn't big on him. Then he looked really good this preseason. He's had some fourth quarter clutchness. So I'm like, maybe there's something there. But I think this move shows that this is his last chance for him to show them something, for them to be like, all right, you're our guy.
Hands down.
You know what I mean? Like, he's done enough to where you're like, you don't think he's out. Like, he doesn't suck. He's not useless. He's had fourth quarter comebacks at least. Like, at least he's better than Zack Wilson.
Not very hard.
Yeah, I guess that's true. That's a comparison.
But you don't know how good he is, and you're not just going to hang on to someone even if they're just like slightly better than Zack Wilson. So that's not the bar we play by. But that's what I think it means, is that Kenny Pickett, they're saying, all right, you get 7 games right now. Go show us what you got without the worst coordinator in the league. So that's my thoughts on the Matt Canada canning.
Yeah, I would agree. Kenny Pickett, it's not like they're not going to give him a ton of chances here. They got a good squad around him, a great defense. It's not like he needs to do that much anyways.
Yeah.
So
and
not going to
you could argue
either. You
could argue this is their year to try to strike because Joe Burrow's out, because the Browns are without Chubb and Deshaun Watson. Like, that's, to some degree, this is a chance. This is an opportunity to make a playoff push that you weren't necessarily expecting.
Yep. I mean, they could definitely make the playoffs. It'll be tough for them to beat out the Ravens in the division,
For sure. Or the Browns.
Even the Browns, let's see. Joe Flacco. Let's see it, I hope he gets another chance here, but Steelers got a chance.
Yeah, I agree. I think I still got to make it playoffs. That was my original pick going into the season, was for them to make it in, and the Browns. That's something, that division, I've done well on my picks there. But next up here, the next topic is why so Sirianni? Why so serious? Why so Nick Sirianni? The Eagles win the rematch of the Super Bowl. Sirianni makes a big splash post game, yelling to the crowd, which isn't necessarily something I think we need to talk about itself. But with the game, you love it.
Yeah,
Furs obviously loves it. John, I think, would love it too. But what was your big takeaways from the game? John mentioned game of the week, and I agree. And you could argue one of the best games of the year. But what do you think?
As many games go, I'm going to say a game of missed opportunities for the Chiefs.
Yeah.
They really could have cemented that one away. And even obviously everyone saw at the end with Marquez Valdez-Scantling dropping that dime of a throw by Mahomes. Would have been a go-ahead. Game would have been over, but go-ahead with a minute or so left.
Yeah.
Game of missed opportunities for the Chiefs, no doubt, but got to give a shout out to the Eagles where it's due for hanging in there the whole time. John mentioned earlier the big play against Kelsey that was monumental for that whole effort in general. So, just kind of the story of the Chiefs season, though. They've had some key drops leading to all of their losses have had some key drops. So they're going to need to clean that up, or this ain't going to be their year in the postseason. That's what I got to say.
Yeah, that's fair, because they're still going to win 12 games or something like that. Like, they're still going to be a 1 seed, 2 seed, whatever it is. But I think you're right. It's Super Bowl or bust. That's the Chiefs at this point. That's the standard that they've set. So yeah, missed opportunities. I think that's very true, because I thought they played tough. Like, for most of the game, it was like, man, is this defense like on the same tier as the Browns? Like, that defense is great. And then all of a sudden they just, Mahomes bad pick in the end zone to Kevin Byard, Travis Kelsey with the fumble, like you gave a shout out to earlier, and then the drops, obviously, that's a game they should have. That's a team they should beat. And that's saying something, because the Eagles are excellent. The Eagles find a way to win, which they did again. And that's another takeaway, is that the Eagles find a way to win.
Yeah, they find a way to win for sure. But I don't know. I can't say that was the Chiefs game all the way.
I agree.
But a lot of bonehead play calls on the Eagles' part. I didn't really like how were running the ball on what was that? I don't know. Those play action draws they had when it was 3rd and 2, 4th down, 4th and 1. These bad play action draws, and that's just not. You don't expect that from a Super Bowl caliber team. And they play like that in the Super Bowl. They're not going to come out how they did against the Chiefs. But I don't know. I feel like, it was obviously a great game, but there's a lot of mistakes across the board from considered the 2 best teams in the league. It was definitely a little bit of a sloppy game. You see Travis Kelsey dropping a lot of balls. But he's not going to play like that. You don't think he's going to play like that when it comes down to it in those big games, but I don't know. I feel like it looked shaky from both of them. I don't know. I think this is the year where you don't see those big shot teams in there. Ravens-Lions.
Whoa. The Lions?
I like the Ravens pick.
Playoffs?
I like the Ravens pick.
Ravens, Lions, and 49ers.
Are we 3-3? Are we 3 for 3 in terms of Ravens winning the AFC?
I think so, yeah.
That was my preseason pick.
Same.
John?
Same.
Jay? Well, I guess we all know where we stand on the Ravens. But I think your point on this game, both teams being a little shaky, coming after it, I also think this game just felt like a playoff game. It was a lot of good energy. They seemed to be playing, just hard in general. Both teams really wanted to win. I thought that was good energy. That was the best Monday night game in years, I think. And it was the most watched Monday Night Football game since 1996.
Hey, I mean, it deserved it. It lived
crazy.
Up to the hype too, I would say. Just 2 great teams. It's not always that the teams that were in the Super Bowl are both still really good.
Coming off of buys, too, each of them. That made it good. Well, my last question here was going to be, are we going to see another rematch in the Super Bowl? But we all just picked the Ravens so we can move on. Next up here, Wilson. Zack Wilson, Plan Z, has been abandoned by the Jets. He's been benched.
Hey.
And they are now going to start TB. Not that TB. Tim Boyle is taking over starting job of the New York Jets. Trevor Siemian will be his backup. And Plan Z is now number 3 on the depth chart.
Stinko.
Does this mean the Jets are officially cooked?
You know, I don't. Tim Boyle. I mean, love the guy. Former Packers backup, Lions backup too last year.
True.
Whatever. But yeah, no, they're screwed. Tim Boyle ain't. I mean, he wasn't even good in college either. Like, no disrespect to the guy. Like, respect. He must be great in the locker room or something like that. Or
Rodgers says he's just
good
really
film
smart.
guy. Yeah, he's probably a good film guy to help the main guy study. But I don't think that's going to translate to the game here. And as good as that defense is, and even with some talent on the offense to support it, I don't know. They might win a couple more games, but definitely not. I don't think nearly enough for a playoff push or anything like that.
Yeah, especially in the AFC.
Yeah, they're done so. But definitely, I think good to move on from Zack Wilson, just to kind of at least show the fans and everyone that it's like, and even just show Zack Wilson that like, hey, this ain't like nothing's guaranteed here. You know, like we'll give our other guys a chance at least. It's kind of good to show that you'll give your other guys a shot too.
I feel like it depends how long Tim Boyle's their starter.
5 minutes.
If Rodgers can make a miracle comeback and whoever's playing quarterback can win them a couple games, I don't believe they're toast. But obviously that's in a perfect world, so that's
a very steady as she goes call.
Do you think then that the Jets should reach out to Matt Ryan?
Matt Ryan would die behind that offensive line. He would literally die.
Hey,
they might as well reach out to Cam Newton for real.
We don't need to get into the Cam Newton can of worms here. Well, John's given some faith to the Jets. I think it's tough. Like they got to shock somebody here to stay, keep their head above water, to keep time for Rodgers to make a miracle comeback. But I think they lose to the Dolphins this week and the season's over. That's what I think. So we'll see. Maybe Tua's struggles against good defenses continue.
They're screwed.
Yeah. Well, last of the news-based topics. So it's time for Joey B to Burrow. Burrow, the other meaning, like bury your head in the sand type thing. And Joe Burrow's out for season, obviously, but Cincinnati, not obviously this season's done. I don't think any of us are going to talk about how Browning is going to be like, the next Tom Brady or anything like that. Okay. So I'm not even going to go through that part of it because we know that answer.
Should they sign Matt Ryan?
Nope, because I think they're cooked with or without. If there was hope Burrow could come back in the playoffs, sure. But if he's out no matter what, pull it.
Hey, Matt Ryan can maybe get you to the Super Bowl and then choke.
Wow.
That'd be better than what their odds are now.
Their odds are playoffs are over. And this will be John's last question here. Did the Bengals miss their Super Bowl window? Yes or no?
Yes.
Oh,
I don't know. But Joe Burrow is just consistently getting injured. I don't know what this does for his future or the Bengals' future, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen when he comes back, what happens with the Bengals, but it's not looking good, and it's the football. It's a bitch of a sport. Nothing's promised, and it sucks to see.
Yeah, it does suck.
What could have been one of the next best quarterbacks to just, I don't know, maybe fall off the face of football.
Well, kind of going off of that, he had a kind of a similar injury. I don't know if it's the exact same, but similar to Drew Brees' injury from about 2 years or 3 years or however many, his second last year in the league or whatever. Hurt his thumb ligament hitting his head or his hand down an opposing player's head. Burrow got it snagged on an arm, but same difference. And then there's a video of him trying to throw, and he drops it halfway through his throw because he couldn't put the pressure on there. And recently, Drew Brees just said he would love to like play and he thinks he could do whatever, but he can't throw with his right hand anymore from that injury, which is kind of what we saw happen with Burrow. Obviously, the injury just fucking happened with him. But
the long-term effects can be real.
Long-term, you don't really know. He's younger. Obviously, you'll have a greater chance to recover, but
uncertain.
You never know, and it sucks to see, but. Yeah, who knows?
Well, we will continue on this, but for now, that wraps up the A block. So we're going to take a break. And John, thank you for joining us for the A block. And everyone else, we will be back in just a few short minutes. Welcome back in, everyone. And now it's time for the B block on episode 47. And first off, Jay, since it's your first time here, I got to kind of put you on the hot seat. We're going to do Mad Fast. So if you don't know, Mad Fast is simply stated a question segment hosted by me where I quickly go through questions and you quickly answer. First thing that comes to the mind. So it's not take 30 seconds, think about it, explain. It's, I say, meatball or salami, and you just be like, oh, salami. Exactly. He gets it. All right. So Mad Fast, Jay. Understood?
All
right. First question. Who is the biggest pretender in the league?
Bills.
Oh,
easy.
What do they pretend? Well, now I want to stop because that's interesting. What are they pretending to be? A 10-7 team, and they're a 9-8 team?
I feel like a lot of people going into the year and just in general think they're a Super Bowl contender. Even still, some people do. And what's their record? They're like 500 or just above. I think. Yep. Just above 500, and honestly, they got bailed out in a couple of games by refs or whatever, with the pass interference or missed pass interference against the Giants. Yep. And there was that roughing the passer call, whenever that was. But
might have been the same game.
They're just, and it's just, I feel like a lot of their games have just been sloppy and bad, and Josh Allen's turning it over a lot, and Ken Dorsey got fired. We'll see what that does. But usually teams that have their coordinators getting fired in the middle of the year don't win Super Bowls.
That's true. And they are a team that's what they thought they were.
Right.
They went out and got, obviously, a trade deadline, Russell Douglas. But, 2 years ago, they get Von Miller. This year, they get Leonard Floyd. They're making moves like they're trying to win right now. And they're not.
You just got to pull it together, coaching and everything else like that. And just, there's more than just the talent that you got that goes into a good squad. They got a ton of talent, but can they pull it together is a whole nother thing, and thus far.
Yeah, that's fair.
Happening.
Okay. Thank you for the explanation. Back to the speed. What quarterback is under the most pressure?
Justin Fields, I guess. He's got, is he gone from Chicago? I don't know. I've talked with some Bears fans and they still want him to keep him.
They don't know.
Some people want to keep him. Some people obviously want to go with the Caleb Williams pick.
Yep.
But what kind of draft capital can you get from trading away that number one pick like they did last year?
Exactly.
Is just Caleb Williams the answer? So Justin Fields, his fate's not written yet, I don't think. While they blew the game at the end of how they lost the game, I thought he, looked pretty solid. Last week. So he's on the hot seat because he's had some good weeks. He's had some bad weeks.
It's just,
we'll see.
You never know. He's a roller coaster and, good stretches, bad stretches. But my message for the Bears and what they need to be doing, like you mentioned, the possibility of trading back and something like that. Eventually, you got to get premier players. You got to get cornerstone guys. Yep. Yes, it made sense this year because you didn't want Bryce Young. But then if you all think about it the other way, imagine the Bears right now with CJ Stroud. Imagine them knowing we have a guy. We have the guy. That's just does so much more for a franchise than getting even as good of a player as DJ Moore.
Right. And DJ Moore is good. He's like a tier 2, tier 3 receiver.
He's good.
He's good. But it's not comparable to a move of when Jalen Hurts was maybe looking only okay or maybe subpar even. And then they brought in AJ Brown. He was great. Josh Allen, same thing with Diggs, looking pretty subpar to start. Obviously, his physicality and everything showed, but looked subpar. Then they bring in Diggs, boom, big improvement. Maybe, like I said, Fields' fate's not written. If they bring in, Marvin Harrison Jr.,
right,
and they have DJ Moore still.
Yeah.
Perhaps Cole Kmet keeps improving, and maybe they get rid of Eberflus or something like that, or who
the
knows?
tank commander, according to Kyle.
And and you never know. Maybe Fields is the guy, and he just hasn't had that shot. I don't necessarily think so.
I don't think so either. But
I'm just saying
he's not terrible. He's not
saying
awful.
he's got a lot of pressure on him because it's not over yet.
Yeah.
They very well could trade that first overall pick and get a whole bunch of stuff and then take Harrison.
Well, they're also going to have 2 top 5 picks in all likelihood.
So they could still get Marvin Harrison Jr. and trade away whatever, and maybe even still have a
he's
top
under
5
pressure.
Pick. Maybe even a team that has the 5th or 6th pick just moves to 1, and they get to still have 2
and they'll
top.
still give a king's ransom for that. So that's absolutely right.
Yep.
Okay, so that's quarterback on the most pressure. What coach is under the most pressure?
Oh man, Belichick. I mean, he's got he's just the one that comes to mind here. That was the first one that pops into my head. I'm sure you could say the same thing about a couple of guys, but
but now you've said it, so now the cat's out of the bag. You gotta kind of
they've stunk it up. Mac Jones is terrible, but that's
Slack
not
Jones.
Right. And that's not on Belichick. But he is the GM over there too,
hiring the coordinators.
So and he's bringing in the coordinators. He's a primary role in building the roster, and as great of a coach as he is, and as great of a defensive mind and everything that he is, objectively, I think he's on the hot seat. They stink this year, and they weren't that great last year.
They stunk.
And the year before was they made it or whatever,
they got
but
crushed
it was
by the Bills.
So they've been struggle bus lately, and if they don't clean it up soon, then it might just be a time for a change of pace. Like McCarthy won a Super Bowl for the Packers. Eventually he kind of got stale there and wasn't working with what they got, and they had to move on. It's not the only time things like that has happened. So Belichick kind of on the hot seat. I love Belichick.
Yeah.
If they fire him, he should go coach the Chargers or something like that. But
what are the Chargers? But he's just objectively in New England, he's on the hot seat. So that makes sense. All right. Who is your dark horse Super Bowl contender?
I'm gonna go with the Buccaneers.
Oh, deep cut.
It's a real dark horse. Cut. I'm not saying it's likely. But if I got to pick a real dark horse here, I'm just going to say if they somehow make a push and win that division, and if they're hot at the right time, Baker's he's one of those guys that's just kind of incredibly streaky, and you don't really know what you're going to get out of him. You could have a game where he absolutely stinks, and you can have a game where he pops off, you know, and they got Evans, they got Godwin, they got Rashad or whatever. They got
White.
Yeah, he's a beast, and they got all these guys. And like we were talking earlier, the defense is solid. Yeah, they just lost to the Niners, but around. If anybody gets hot at the right time of the year, you never know.
They got Super Bowl caliber players.
They can do it. They've had I don't know how many players on that roster from that Super Bowl team, but there's still at least a fair chunk, and Bowles was there,
Godwin and Evans and David and White and a whole lot of guys.
Winfield,
Vita Vea, definitely a lot.
They got guys that have been
Tristan
there.
Wirfs.
So I think if they get to the playoffs and they're hot, you never know. I'm not saying it's going to happen,
right? Yeah. You're not saying that would be your choice of who's going to, or even top 3 most likely, but I really appreciate you actually going dark horse, because a lot of people would just say someone besides the Chiefs and Eagles and say, well, it's a dark horse. They're not the favorite. It's going to be the Ravens. Well, no shit. They're the 1 seed in the AFC right now.
Yeah. I'm going Buccaneers. Man.
Okay.
Unlikely, but. All
right. This one, not a who is now, but who is your projection to win the MVP?
I'm going to go with Lamar Jackson. It's
there
been it hasn't been the season so far. I mean, the team's been doing great, and he hasn't had say the most superb season of all time, but he's He's been doing well. He's leading that team. Hey, leading a scoring drive where your running back punches it in is still a good drive. Those just don't go on the stat sheet. And there's a lot of drives where he's doing great. And, and then the running back punches it in. It even happened on the first drive against the Bengals or whatever. He had 71 of the team's first 75 yards.
Give it to
and
Gus
then
Bus.
they give it off to Gus Edwards. And that's great.
Gus
they
Bus.
scored. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
But, he's having a better year than the stats look, I think. And, even still, we'll see what happens with Mark Andrews going down, but I think he's going to do well, and that's going to bode well for when the MVP conversation comes around. Yeah. I think he does well without Andrews, and people are like, oh, damn, they still did well even without Andrews. Maybe he is the MVP. So maybe.
Yeah, he's just got to get more touchdowns. That's going to be the thing.
Yep.
Because he's going to have the record. And he's got a good amount of yards per game and stuff. It's just going to need to be touchdown. You got to score touchdowns to get the MVP
I just feel like there's not a clear MVP, and oftentimes when there's not a clear MVP, they give it to whatever the best team's QB is. It was like that one Brady MVP when Carson Wentz got hurt.
There's
not a
default.
clear MVP. Gurley got hurt at the end of that year too. Everything like that. There was no clear MVP. So just give it to Brady. It's like one of those things. Might be that way.
That's fair. All right. Who's more likely to win by 20 or more points tomorrow? Dallas against the Commanders or San Francisco against the Seahawks?
I'm going to go Dallas against the Commanders because I just feel like this whole year Dallas has been either winning big or losing big.
Yeah.
And, I don't like the Commanders really.
No, they stink.
I don't really like a lot of things about their team and their team name, and they could have done better with that. But yeah, they're gonna get whacked by the Cowboys, I think. So hopefully you're not going against CeeDee Lamb in fantasy.
He is probably gonna snap, so that's fair. Now, side note, while we're on the Commanders side of things, and they obviously got crushed last week by the Giants. How crazy is it that Tommy DeVito went off for 3 touchdowns? He should have got a medal. Someone should give him something.
Hey, Tommy DeVito.
Right. He's took a break from the chicken parm, and he went out and threw some touchdown passes.
Yeah, he's a baller. You got to respect it. I don't know what else to say about him. He's an interesting guy. Does he live with his ma or whatnot? He does. Chiller. You got to respect it. He's out there getting everything done for him. And now he's getting it done on the field. So that's what it's all about.
At least that time. So we'll see how that continues. That was interesting because, he had shown it looked like he had never thrown a football the first couple times he played out there.
So love to see it. Rooting for the kid.
Okay. All right. Well, that'll do it for the Mad Fast portion itself. Now, next, another game. And this game is draft day. And specifically, Johnny Manziel. Jay, shout out to the deep cut song, Draft Day. But for this draft day, as the name of today's episode will be as well, is going to be Turkey Bowl. Turkey Bowl edition. So specifically, we're going to be drafting like we're playing a Turkey Bowl. Jay and I will both be playing in a Turkey Bowl on this Friday. So we'll see if Jay's looking like Manziel draft day that day. But today's draft day, we're drafting a 5-on-5 Turkey Bowl. So we're going to be
snake or
snake.
Okay.
Yep. The only fair way to do it, right? So you got anyone not doing snake out there, redo it.
It's not what I did in recess football.
You stack the teams, stack the deck.
Hey,
but we will be drafting in obviously whatever order you choose, but QB, running back, receiver 2, a center. Doesn't have to be an O-lineman if you don't want them to. That's on you. They do have to block.
Does it have to be a center?
No, it's just who plays your center. They're just snapping the ball, blocking. Maybe they leak out for a pass every now and again. Okay. So be strategic there.
Go.
And then a pass rusher, a linebacker, 2 corners, and a safety. So I'll keep that list in front of us in the middle for reference. And this will be specifically from those playing on Turkey Day. So we've got 3 games. That gives us 6 teams to choose from. We will act like they are all healthy. We've got Packers Lions in the morning. So those are both eligible teams. Act like everyone's healthy. So Aaron Jones is eligible here.
What about guys that are out for year?
We'll eliminate out for year.
Okay. I think that's fair. Many of them there are on that group, but
just good clarification.
Bakhtiari.
So that's the first game. Then we've got, Dallas, Washington. Then we've got San Francisco, Seattle. So those are the players we are eligible for. Jay, let's roll a die for who gets first pick. How about that?
All right. 1, 2, 3 says I get the first pick.
And there it is. First
Oh,
pick.
Yeah.
Try to keep track of your team in your mind best you can, or if you want to type it in, I guess you
So
can.
my first pick, I think this one's pretty straightforward and easy for me. I'm going with Christian McCaffrey.
That's good.
He's a beast. Absolute unit. And if he's healthy, which he has been all year, which is phenomenal. I got him in fantasy. He's a beast. Number 1, easy.
Number 1, McCaffrey. Okay.
Lock it in.
Good to know. I'm going to type it in just while we're at it, just so it's easier to keep track. It'll be easier some way. All right. I'll just put you on the left, me on the right. All right. So Jay took McCaffrey. Good start. And now I've got back-to-back.
Yeah.
Okay. So first, I'm going to have to go, tick for tack with you and kind of like go with a running back as well. And I'm actually going to go with Tony Pollard. And my reason being there is this is a turkey bowl. I need that speed. I need that burst. And when he doesn't have to be a grind in between the tackles guy, like that's when he's at his best. So I'm going to take Tony Deuces, as Rich Eisen calls him. Tony Deuces. Pollard. So we've each got running backs. So that's first and foremost. Receiver or quarterback was, a kind of tough choice here. And ultimately, I was most comfortable with, taking the best quarterback on the board and going with another Cowboy. I'm taking Dak.
Oh, he's going with Dak.
Back-to-back Cowboys, but I think, I think I had to do it.
Big Cowboys fan, huh?
Hey, you know how I respect the Cowboys and McCarthy, so I gotta get a quarterback too.
All right. Well, now I got 2 in a row picks here. I can get a receiver here, so I'm gonna go with CeeDee Lamb.
Big Cowboys guy.
Beast. He's an absolute unit out there, killing it on yards and everything. And with my next pick, I'm gonna go with Fred Warner.
That's a good one.
Fred Warner, absolute unit on the defensive side of the field. Best linebacker, best interior linebacker in the league, if you're asking me.
Absolutely.
I'd say that's a pretty popular opinion, though.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's consensus. So that's good picks to go back and forth. And I'm going to follow your lead with the defensive route, and I'm going to take another Cowboy. I'm going to take Micah Parsons, dude. I mean, Micah Parsons. Look, dude, Micah is if you were doing flag football rushers, no one in the league. No one in the league do I want more than Micah Parsons. So that's first and foremost.
That's a good choice. It's a good choice. It's not going to.
It's just, I wasn't planning to
Can't
do 3
argue
Cowboys.
with that.
I wasn't planning to do 3 Cowboys. But now I have to go receiver. I got to get some weapons out there for Dak to throw to. And I'm going to take Amon-Ra St. Brown, man.
Okay.
Like, great flag football player, like I would think, because he looks like he's just elusive. So
yeah, I get that. That's a good choice.
So that's my picks. So now you're back on the clock.
All right, if I'm back up here, I'm gonna go ahead and get Kenny Clark.
It's a good one.
To rush the passer. I feel like he does a pretty good job getting his hands up too when balls are being thrown. So that's clutch, especially in a classic backyard football game. Got to have those active hands.
Surprised you took him over Gary.
Kenny Clark's such a beast.
Yeah, I guess he could help you.
Coming up, I feel like one when it's a edge rusher, if there's especially in a scenario here where there's like one blocker, one rusher.
Yeah,
I feel like it's best if you got somebody who's used to rushing from the middle.
That's fair.
So Kenny Clark right there.
That's fair.
Beast. Underrated, underappreciated.
Okay, so that's your first pick.
That's who I got there. And then I'm going to go ahead and lock down the trenches and get Zach Martin.
Nice. That's a good one.
Got to get Zach Martin. I got my center lined up. Mike Parsons and Zach Martin, I'm sure they've had some practice drills against each other, but that'd be a nice battle to watch one-on-one.
Yeah, I like that too. Okay, nice. Well, I'm going to break the seal for going defensive backs, and I'm going to take Jair Alexander. Again.
Oh, I guess if he's healthy.
If he's healthy,
that's
exactly.
the thing. That's the key right there. But yeah, if he's healthy, great pick. Can't complain with that.
Agreed. He's beast when he's able to be on the field. So, obviously disappointing that hasn't been the case this year.
Availability is the
especially.
best ability, but that ain't the case for this draft.
That ain't the case because they're available, all of them. Now, I'm going to follow it up with going with another corner.
No.
And I don't know if you know who I'm going with, but I'm going with Devon Witherspoon. I'm a big Witherspoon guy. And I think playmaking wise, that's who I want. I got Jair and Witherspoon as my cornerbacks.
Oh, man. DBs. I don't even know enough DBs here. I'm going to be screwed. I'm going to go with another receiver here. And give me Ayuk.
Ayuk, that's a good one.
He's a beast. He's just a
I don't even
unit.
know how to spell Ayuk.
Ayuk.
That sounds right.
You can, he's super physical, fast. You could use him in a lot of ways. Tempted to go with Debo just because of his history as being the running back receiver kind of guy, but I think Ayuk could do the same thing kind of deal, honestly.
Yeah.
In some ways at least. So, that's my choice.
Okay.
And he's been doing pretty well. So give him a shout out.
Okay. I like that. You still have one more, right?
Oh, yeah, you're right. Give me Jared Goff.
Goff had to secure him.
Goff's good. He's proven that this year. He's been,
He
great.
said, I'm just
the
Goff.
the end of last year with the Lions and going into this year, he's been great. Looking like
Ken. Said,
So
I'm
go.
just Goff. Anywhere else that would be enough. All right. So, okay, we got the QBs all locked down here. Now I'm gonna go with my center. I'm gonna take Penei Sewell. So, tackle in real life. But if you remember, like he's gone out for some passes, like in the in the NFL with the crazy play calling of Dan Campbell.
He's not afraid to go
Johnson.
toe to toe with Aaron Donald.
Yep, he's a beast, dude. So. I went for that because, obviously he's a great blocker, but then also he's got kind of, again, some of that like spill outage that you would that you'd want to see. So that's where I went there. Oh, now we're really, really getting down to it. So I am just missing a linebacker, a safety, and one more receiver, and you're missing all three DBs. So maybe I just lock up all the DBs.
Some DBs I can take.
Well, actually, I'm going to punish your DBs, and I'm going to use my last pick here before your turn and take DK.
Oh, good choice. Good choice.
Amon and DK would be a lethal combo with how they just balance each other.
Yep. Hands down. Got to agree with that one. Oh, man, this ain't easy.
Being cheesy.
DBs. Who are the best available?
So you got to think. So we got Packers and Lions. So probably looking at really
Gardner Johnson.
I was gonna say
get him, lock him in. He's got the ski mask. I encourage anyone watching this theoretical game to bring their ski masks and just be ready. That's all I gotta say. Because Chauncey Gardner Johnson, he's ready.
He's ready
he's locking down. Who do you got?
Amon-Ra.
He's locking them down.
I don't know about that. They're teammates.
Yep. We got some teammate matchups going on this team here.
That's true.
So, all right. Did I have another pick?
You have another one still.
Oh, great.
Another
Who are
DB.
some other DBs? Trayvon Diggs is out for a year, so he's eliminated from this conversation.
Stephon Gilmore.
Yeah, who else we got?
Hufunga. He's out for season 2, actually, though. He's done. Okay. Tariq Woolen.
Could have been Russell Douglas. No.
Tariq Woolen. Deron Bland, the cornerback for the Cowboys.
Lock him in.
Yeah.
Deron Bland's having a hell of a season. He's on the squad. We
Okay.
got a lot of Cowboys players in this game, I'm realizing.
That's the Cowboys, though. They're stars. They
Yeah.
wear it on the helmet, and they got stars. That's what they do. Part of that's probably just because they get so much attention, so we know more about them. But also, these are all great players. Dak's good. Pollard's good. Lamb's a beast. Like Zach Martin's obviously really good. Micah's a beast, and Deron Bland's been super solid. Okay. Now I really got to think about safety, though.
Safety.
I don't necessarily feel like these teams have the best safeties in the league, if I'm being quite honest.
Put DK back there.
Damn near. Because I'm almost tempted to take another corner and just figure it out one way. Okay, so Witherspoon actually can play safety or corner, so that's good to keep in mind.
Oh,
Which means, I'm gonna pounce on that, and I'm gonna take Tariq Woolen.
You son of a.
And that rounds out my team as well. So you have the last pick. You need to find another DB. So, feel free to kick the rocks on the corner route too, because, at least there's more there.
So, we're switching up gears here.
Oh,
and
getting another line. Oh, I still got a linebacker to get. Oh, excuse me.
Oh, he's got another pick. This guy. He's got another pick.
Oh, the linebacker now. Okay, well, that threw me for. Well, let me just get Bobby Wags.
Okay.
Just Bobby Wags.
Bobby Wagner, a GOAT. Throwing some shout outs in there. Got to respect it. For my pick, I'm saying to hell with a safety.
Oh,
and Fred Warner, he's fast enough. He could run around and do a bunch of stuff.
Sure.
I'm going with Devondre Campbell.
Oh, another linebacker.
Get him in there. We need to show the Packers some love here too. He's a beast if he's healthy. And he's a monumental part of that defense and their results. It shows when he's healthy versus when he's not. So give the man some respect. Former first team All-Pro.
Yeah, 2 years ago, not that long ago.
So he's a beast. Got to give him some respect. He's on the squad.
I like the pick. Neither of us got a true safety, but we got, at the end of the day, again, it's 5-on-5. So you got to kind of just see who can be Swiss Army knife to some degree. So that's fair. Okay,
Devondre Campbell might even sub in at tight end, bro. In my squad.
We're number 59 at tight end. Would you allow that?
Hey.
Well, your team overall ended up being Goff, McCaffrey, CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Ayuk, Zach Martin, Kenny Clark, Bobby Wagner, Devondre Campbell, CJ Gardner-Johnson, and Deron Bland. Those are some ballers.
Good team for the Turkey Bowl right there.
Good team for the Turkey Bowl. I don't know what you're going to do to stop this offense, though. I got Dak, I got Pollard, Amon-Ra, and DK, and Penei Sewell as my blocker.
Fred Warner.
All right, we'll see. Might have to put this to a vote. On defense, you got Micah and Wagner as the linebacking and rushing crew. They can switch off even if they wanted to. DBs, it's Zoom, Legion of Zoom, Legion of Spoon, Devon Witherspoon, and Jair and Woolen. So good matchup. A lot of chess going on with that one.
There you got it.
I like that. Okay, Turkey Bowl. We'll see again who wins on Friday too, or if we're on the same team. All right.
Yeah.
Now, the last thing we'll do here today before we wrap is we're going to make our picks for week 12. So I got them all with the spread too. So first up, we got to start with the Turkey Day games. And we've got the Packers at the Lions starting us off at 11:30. And the Lions are 7.5-point favorites and also on I believe, 5-game win streak against the Packers.
Am I choosing based off of the spread or based off of the game?
So choose your winner. If you want to go spread, you're welcome to. Drake usually doesn't go spread. He just picks a winner. Okay. And I usually pick the team and the score. So effectively, I pick the spread.
Okay. So are we doing one game at a time here?
Yeah, we'll go one at a time. So Packers, Lions 7.5-point favorites at home.
Going with the Packers, man. We're winning against the Lions on Thanksgiving. I just think divisional game, you never know what's going to happen. Packers offense has been kind of turning a corner the last 2 weeks, even though we lost against the Steelers. It's looking good. Yep. And, as good as the Lions have been, I just don't know if I see the Lions beating the Packers 4 or 5 straight times.
Already been 5.
Well, I don't see it going to 6. So I'm picking the Packers, but the spread, well, I guess, Lions would have to lose the spread.
So if you're picking an upset, and you're picking the upset to win outright. So shout out.
Yep.
Okay. So now, Packers, I had some of that same feeling, we're due. We're just due. And I feel like the Lions are getting cocky to some degree too. I feel like they're due to get knocked down a peg.
Yep.
And that would probably be good for them in the long run. But that's what I was feeling. And then the Packers just lately have just been injury. Aaron Jones is probably not going to play. And I want to say one of the receivers is going to be out as well this week. In addition to, Jair, don't think he's going to play. Musgrave got put on IR. Rudy Ford got put on our IR. We just signed Robinson. So I feel like there's some bad stuff going on, even though we've been playing good. And I figured out our only hope is for me to do some reverse psychology again. 2 weeks in a row. So I'm going to pick the Lions.
Oh,
But I'm picking the Packers to cover because I do still obviously want the Packers to win this, but I picked Lions 30-24. I think it'll be a good game regardless. I just worry on if our defense can stop them or not.
That's the key.
Because I think they might be able to run all over
I think
us.
Kenny Clark might have a nice fumble force in there.
That would be nice.
win the
That's kind
Turkey
of what
Bowl.
it's going to take. The Turkey Bowl.
Mhm.
Yeah, someone will eat a turkey leg at the end of the game. All right, next game. Commanders at Cowboys. Cowboys 12.5-point favorites. I'm pretty sure that's the biggest spread of the week.
Cowboys are putting up 40 on them. Washington's going to have they might score a fair amount. They might have 24 or something like that. They might have more. Sam Howell's going to have a lot of yards again. He's probably going to also have a lot of picks again.
Get sacked a lot.
He's going to get sacked a lot. Parsons is going to eat.
Yep.
Bland is going to eat. Whole Cowboys are going to eat.
Yeah.
And they're going to get that turkey leg at the end of the day,
So I'm with you. I got the Cowboys. I got them covering, but I have them covering by half a point. I picked it as 33-20, which is obviously an odd score. And basically, I was like, Cowboys are going to drive, but they suck in the red zone. They legitimately suck in the red zone this year. And it's so annoying because I have Pollard in one league. And they just suck in the red zone without Zeke at the end of the day.
Feed Zeke.
Yeah, and obviously, Kellen Moore isn't there either. So, I think they're way better than the Commanders. So this game won't even be as close as the score I said as far as 33-20. I don't know why. That's just the score that came to mind. But
It's
we
a
both
divisional
got
game.
Cowboys.
Yeah, divisional game. You never know.
They
never
took the
know.
Eagles to OT earlier this year. So
Washington
absolutely.
could win. You never know.
You never know. Could be a trap game. The last game of Thursday night, this is Thursday night, but Thanksgiving is the Niners at the Seahawks. The Niners are favored by 7, but do note Kenneth Walker unlikely to play. Geno Smith is also questionable, so there's a possibility that it's Drew Lock here tomorrow, but I think it's game time decisions. Yeah, exactly.
Horsecock Lock.
Shout out because that's a callback to several episodes ago when Connor and Kyle and Drake acted like that was not a thing. But
that's the thing.
So you kind of got to pick
nickname.
this game regardless of who who's going to play.
Niners, I feel like that's a pretty easy pick. I'm not being bold on that one, but I think they're going to take them down. I think it'll be a close game, but,
I think they can win by a touchdown.
Bowl they're going to eat. They're going to eat. Fred Warner is going to get a pick 6.
Oh.
Brandon Ayuk's going to score. McCaffrey's going to score.
Oh.
I think they're going to, what's the spread? -7. They're going to win by
8. Bold.
28-20.
All right. Well, I got 27-17. I think either way, I feel like the Niners defense is playing a little bit better now. And I think they'll, the Seahawks offense has been inconsistent, especially if Kenneth Walker's not playing. And then the Niners, I think, will move the ball. I think they'll get slowed down a little bit. Typically, Seattle plays them pretty tough, but the Niners are just a way better team. Now, Black Friday game, this once looked like it was going to be one of the games Friday of the year. First ever. And it's kind of a dud. We've got Dolphins at Jets. Dolphins are 9.5-point favorites visiting Tim Bowles.
All right. Gotta give the Dolphins that one. They're supposed to, the spread's -9.5 for them. They're gonna win by more than that. They're gonna win by 17. It might be a 3-score game.
Could be.
Jets defense is pretty good though, and Tua
stinks
against the good defenses. I'm taking back what I said about the 3-score game, but I still got the Jets win. I mean, the Dolphins winning this one, and -9.5.
It's a tough one.
I'm still going to give them that. It might be lower scoring than I think, but I think the Jets might not even eclipse 10.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I got the Dolphins 24-10. I do think the Jets defense will make life hard on Tua and the Dolphins, but at the end of the day, they're just going to be out there too long. That eventually the dam's going to break. So it's going to be a tough scene out there for Tim Boyle and the New York Football Jets in JetLife Stadium. It is in JetLife, MetLife.
Yeah.
All right, next game here, sneaky decent game. We got the Bucks, Super Bowl dark horse. Don't forget it. The Bucks at the Colts, and the Colts are 2.5-point favorites at home.
Buccaneers.
Oh,
They're pulling it together. They're gonna win. Mike Evans is gonna have a big game, and I think they're gonna win here. I think it'll be a well played game by both teams, but I just foresee Buccaneers having a good game, winning the turnover battle and time of possession, and taking the dub.
wow. Okay, wow. Picking against Minshew.
I love Minshew, but I think after the Buccaneers loss, I think they're going to be hungry and just going to be ready to play.
Yeah.
So I'm giving them the shot. I'm giving them the pick this week. It's going to be a close one. They're going to win by a field goal, maybe even at the last second. But that's going to be my pick. So,
well, I have to disagree with you on this one, but it's a close game. It's a tight one. This was a toss-up. It's a 2.5-point spread, so it's basically pick 'em. But I do have the Colts.
He's picking the
23-20.
Colts.
I got the Colts. I got Jonathan Taylor and Gardner Minshew and no Shaq Leonard. That does make me a little nervous.
Yeah, it's who knows what's going on there, but
no,
that's going to hurt them not having him.
At least from on-field standpoint, absolutely. So that is, to be transparent, what gives me pause about that game. But it's, I like what the Colts have been doing overall and Josh Downs, and I like the team. But we'll see. This game, talk about all time. The New England Patriots travel to New York to play the Giants.
Oh,
in a battle of two teams that met in the Super Bowl twice. Two teams that account for 8 Super Bowls on Bill Belichick's 10 fingers, if you think of the two as coordinators for the Giants.
Yep.
What a matchup, folks. No, we got Patriots, Giants. Patriots 3.5 points on the road at Tommy DeVito. Looking a little like Tommy DeVito over there. Look like that could be your name.
That's it's an interesting game because they're both terrible. And I honestly have no idea what I think is going to happen in that game. But I'm just going to throw the Patriots and say they're going to win.
He's getting off the hot seat.
I think, my moral of the story is I'm just actually.
No.
What was Daboll? Wasn't he?
They have connections.
Was he special teams coordinator for the Patriots before, or something like that?
He was something. I don't know what specifically, but their ties to the Patriots.
Never mind. I'm picking the Giants. Belichick seems to not do too well against any coaches that are his former assistants and everything like that. Even though like in terms of career he's better. So Tommy DeVito coming through again in a sloppy game. It's all going to be Mac Jones' fault. He might miss a couple of wide open.
He's not starting this week.
Oh, they got Zappy or whatever.
Yeah, zap him.
All right.
All right,
we're back on the Patriots.
Whoa,
I'm jumping.
Flip flop.
Yep, there it is. Final take.
Final
Final
Zappy,
answer. Mac Jones stinks. That's why.
Mac Jones does stink.
So,
wow, Slack Jones really taking it on the shins. I also got the Patriots, and it has nothing to do with quarterbacks because obviously either way, not going to be great.
Right.
But Belichick, his track record of beating rookie QBs and whatnot over the course of his career. So I think
true.
I feel like Tommy DeVito is going to be, his head will be spinning, even if it's, from looking at some scrub linebackers instead of great linebackers. But I got the Patriots 23-13 in a game that is categorized as do not watch. All right. Next up, this was almost a really good game this week, but we've got Steelers at Bengals. Steelers are a 1.5 favorite on the road.
Oh, yeah. Gotta give Steelers the shout here. Free of Matt Canada at last, and Burrow's hurt.
This would be an all-time loss.
With their defense. There's, they should be able to honestly hold the Bengals to under 10 if they play like they've played in a lot of these games so far. So they better just take it home.
I wonder what the over-under on points is for this game. Probably like 32.5.
Yeah, it's got to be one of the lowest ones ever, I'd imagine. It's going to be stinky in that respect.
At least they probably
hope you don't like offense if you're trying to watch that game.
Oh, they probably bumped it up 3 points as soon as Matt Canada was gone. They're like, oh, okay, let's give him a few more points.
Yeah.
But
probably my candidate stinks.
Agreed. And I agree on the pick too. I got Steelers 20-10. Again, another game. Do not watch. All right. Carolina at Tennessee. It's going to be a rookie QB battle, surprisingly. Not something we necessarily would have thought going into the season. But Panthers are not favored. The Titans are favored at home by 4.
Oh, man. It's another one of those games, but I'm going to go ahead and give it to the Titans here. It's going to be a close one. I just think, while both teams have been playing incredibly sloppy, I think just the Titans have some more weapons to pull it together. And
some more Hopkins.
Panthers, I don't know. I don't believe. I know Furr's a big Adam Thielen believer. Got to give him some respect here, but they ain't winning.
I'm here to tell you they're winning. I'm taking the Panthers.
Oh my Lord! What do you think Love's stat line? I mean, Young's stat line is gonna be.
Love's will be great. Young's, I don't know. It'll be like 240, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks,
2 pickaroos.
Yeah, and I think Will Levis will be something similar. I got Panthers 26-24 and like a win now or you're getting fired type game for like everyone on that coaching staff. I feel like so. That's kind of what I had going there. Like, they don't have their own first round pick. There's no reason for them to still stay bad. Like, I think they're going to continue to fight down the stretch here as people fight for their jobs. So
true.
Titans should win. If they lose this, then they're going to be talking about like, all right, let's tear it down. So we'll see. That brings us halfway through, but last half of these games getting kicked off with Jags at Texans, a revenge game we didn't know was going to be such a thing. But the Jags are favored by 1.5 still, even though they got cremated last time. And this time they're in Houston.
Yeah, I'm taking the Jags. Even if they're on the road, I think that they're going to bounce back here. What was their last week? They just
whopped the Titans.
Yeah, and I think they're going to continue on the trend of
they're streaky,
bopping the divisional opponents right now, and
they need to.
I think they're gonna take one home here, and I think they're gonna control the pace of this game as well.
I think they need to, just for like from a morale standpoint, even because it wouldn't be good for them to lose to the Texans twice, because presumably those would be the two teams battling it out for the division going forward. So you don't want to give anyone an edge, moving forward. Plus they could match up in the playoffs, right? That's very possible. That could be a wild card type game. So I agree with you. There'll be a sense of urgency. I do have the Jags 27-24. I think it'll be a good game. I think it'll be a real nice, tight game. And Texans obviously been playing well, and they almost lost 2 weeks ago, last week, to the Cardinals, but they pulled it out. So I think
win's a win.
Yeah, and it'll be a good game. Another divisional matchup, Saints at Falcons. Falcons are another 1.5 point favorite here.
Who's at home?
Falcons.
Miss me with the Falcons. I'm choosing the Saints either way. I knew that the Falcons were at home. I just wanted to double down on the fact that I don't believe in the Falcons. That's all I got to say. I don't like Arthur Smith's ability to use the much talent that he has on that roster. That offense is just incredibly underwhelming to me. Only so much can be blamed on quarterback play and everything like that when they got guys like Pitts and Cordell Patterson and Bijan,
Drake London,
and
Algier,
all these guys. Yeah,
Johnny Smith, even
John. Yeah, dude. Shout out. They got a lot of guys on the squad, and quite frankly, they should be doing better
than they are.
And I just think the Saints defense is gonna clamp down on them.
See, the thing is, I agree with everything you said, and I'm still picking the Falcons because I just feel like the Saints have become this team that always steps on the rake and gets smacked in the face. Like, no matter what. Like, they lost to the Bucs earlier this year, and it was like the same thing. I was like, okay, they should beat the Bucs. They've got the better defense now. They've got the better quarterback in Derek Carr, and they should have at least similar weapons, if not better. They've got all these running backs on the roster, and then it's just lose by 14. Well, I feel like they have these games in them, and I feel like this division is just destined to be won by a team with a losing record. So for that to happen, the Saints need to lose some more games. So it's I don't know. It's just like I don't like the Saints piss me off. I wanted them to be good this year, and they've been disappointing to me. So I went with the Falcons. I'm kind of surprised they're favorites, though. It makes me a little bit scared that they are. But next up, yet another divisional game: Rams at Cardinals, and the Cardinals are favorited for, I believe, the first time all season.
Is Wentz playing?
So I think it's Stafford played last week, right? Did he get? Is he going to be out?
I don't know.
I think he's healthy enough to keep playing.
Okay, well, then I'm going with the Rams. I'm going with the Rams if Stafford's playing.
But Cup probably won't.
Yeah, it'll be fine. Puka Nacua, Tutu Atwell. They got some dogs out there. I think they're going to pull together. They're going to win a game. It might be sloppy. I think the Cardinals, Kyler Murray will probably have a decent game. But I'm still going to pull with the Rams here. At the end of the day, I think it's just going to come down to McVay is just going to outcoach. And that's what I'm going with here. I think it's going to be close. It might be sloppy.
Yeah.
I think they're going to win.
Sloppy's right. But all of a sudden, the Rams have real hope for a playoff berth now that they've swept Seattle. They're 4-6,
Mm-hmm.
Same record as Packers, but they're 4-6. And Seattle, I believe, is 6-5 now. And Seattle's got injuries, and they're about to go into a gauntlet of games where they play like Niners, Eagles, Niners, Cowboys type thing. Like it's really tough. So they have hope. So I think it's going to be a grimy game. But I agree, the Rams should win. But I think it's going to be a tight one. I got Rams 23-20. I think the Cardinals play tough, and Kyler Murray gives them a little spark on offense, at least a little bit.
Fair. I mean, respect. I like Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray.
True.
All right. This game, sneaky good. We got Browns at Broncos, and the Broncos are favored by 1.5 at home. A lot of tight spreads.
Is Dorian Thompson-Robinson playing, or is Joe Flacco playing?
It'll be DTR again, is the assumption.
Okay. I'm going to go. I mean, I was going to go with the Broncos either way on this one. The Broncos have been hot. What, 4 straight games? They started 1-5. They're 5-5 now?
Yeah.
They've been finding a way. Wilson's been sneaky solid, sneaky good, leading, doing great in completion percentage and touchdowns and efficiency wise.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all about efficiency when it comes to quarterbacks.
75% completion percentage during the winning streak.
Mm-hmm. So I think they're going to find a way to pull it off. And I don't know what the score is going to be, but
tight low scoring game.
I got the Broncos pulling it off in this one.
Wow. Well, again, one of those ones where I agree with all your points on the Broncos, and I've picked them a couple of these recent weeks here as well. But I think this Browns defense is just too much. I don't know what it is about them, but their defense has just been insane all year long. And I think it'll keep up this week. I think DTR built some confidence to at least be okay for another week or so. I'm going to take the Browns 20-16. I think the Broncos will be a lot of checkdowns against this Browns team. And the one bad thing about the Broncos, specifically Russ, is he's still taking a lot of sacks. And the Browns, they will sack a lot. So that's why I thought that. But this is going to be I think that's actually, again, a sneaky good game. If you're also not a fan of watching points, I think it'll be low scoring.
Yep.
Now, one of the better games of the week, we got Buffalo at Philly. Not as good maybe as we thought going into the year, but still,
Philly.
Philly at home, 3-point favorites. Honestly, closer than I thought.
I'm giving Philly all day. Buffalo's frauds, like I said earlier. Philly's great. I like Sirianni. I like that defense. I like that O-line. That O-line's just going to move the Bills.
I agree with that.
I just think that A.J. Brown will probably have a good game, but I just think they're going to just dominate in the rush game this week. Swift might have 130 all-purpose yards.
Another great game. Yeah.
You're going to see Jalen Hurts getting at least a couple of tush pushes in there, maybe a touchdown or two. I got the Eagles handling this one. I hope it's a good game. I hope the Bills play what they could play like what they could and should play like. But, I just don't think it's happening.
I got the Eagles too, and I got them covering. It's not a big spread. I got Eagles 31-24. I do think the Bills have a sense of urgency going to where they're obviously not going to roll over. But
But the Eagles are close to slipping too after. Well, I guess they just won, but like,
Well, the Eagles, I think for them is like, could there be like almost like a week 11 hangover from winning the Super Bowl rematch, like for like 2 quarters that lets the Bills hang around for a while? But I think by the end of the day, what the Bills figured out with Joe Brady calling the plays versus Ken Dorsey was we got to run the ball, which is great. But you're not going to run the ball on the Eagles. So I think they're going to try, but I just think this is unfortunate that they match up with them now. So I agree with you. Eagles, better team. Eagles at home. Absolutely.
Yep.
Now, Kansas City, they are 8.5-point favorites at the Raiders. But before you say, did you know in the last 3 games, the Chiefs have not scored a single second-half point?
Oh, I did not know.
Not one.
That's crazy. I know they didn't do it last week, but 3 in a row weeks, that's a tough scene, just to say the least.
Yep. That's so that's the Dolphins game, that's the Eagles game, and that's the Broncos game. Like,
the defense has been pretty decent.
the defense has been awesome.
But the Raiders stink. I guess they've been better with Antonio Pierce. Shout out the guy. But I just the Chiefs I just think they're gonna pull through here. I'm not a believer in Aiden O'Connell over here at all. I don't
AOC.
care. I don't even care about anything. I don't believe in him. So that's my thought there. Devontae's fine, but he should just go back to the Packers already and stop playing. But anyway, Chiefs.
I agree. Yep. Chiefs.
I think they're going to smoke them after losing to the Eagles. They're going to be mad, and they're going to come out, and they're going to absolutely smoke the Raiders.
Huh. They need to. I think that's what they should do with their mojo. They need to get it back up. I got this being kind of a grindy game where the Chiefs control it throughout, win 24-14, but Raiders defense, I agree with you. I don't believe in Aiden O'Connell whatsoever.
Yeah.
But I like their defense. I do. I didn't think I would, but this year it's been pretty good. They held the Dolphins to 20
this week, though.
They might. I don't know. Or Spillane will get 3 picks again.
Oh, have the Chiefs put up 40 yet this year?
I think against the Bears.
All right. I was gonna say,
not sure what that's worth.
I was just gonna say they're due, but either way, I think they're due for another big offensive game. They've been lacking this year, so I think it's coming soon.
That could be the case.
Coming soon.
Either way, we both got them covering even the 8.5 spread. This game, I honestly feel like the spread should be bigger, but we got the Ravens at Chargers. Ravens 3.5-point favorites.
Chargers stink. Freaking Staley, get him out of there. He's not good.
At the game, me and First did a mini fire Staley chant after the game, and the Chargers fans in front of us turned around and they were like, yes. It was those shout out those fans, real fans. They were great fans. It was their first time in Lambeau, and they talk about how it was their favorite stadium.
He said, you can stop asking that question because I'm calling the plays around here.
Oh.
That's what he said. They're questioning his play calling ability.
Staley.
Yeah, and he's not giving it up.
He just looks nervous.
I just think they got so much talent on that roster. They've had so much talent on that roster for a few years now, and they always blow it. So what does that say?
That they're the Chargers.
It says that but also Staley.
Chargers are going to charge him.
Yeah, that's true. And the Ravens are great, and like I said, I think Lamar is going to have a great back half of the year. I think the Ravens are going to. They're my Super Bowl pick in the AFC right now. So they got the Ravens, and I think it's going to be a good game. Chargers tend to have a lot of good games, at least.
They're 0-5 in one-score games this year.
I was just going to say they find a way to lose, and some teams find a way to win, and they find a way to lose, and that's what's going to happen again.
And I'm pretty sure it's not even just one-score games; it's 3 points or less. 0-5. That's terrible. So even if this game was close, the Ravens will pull it out. But I got Ravens 38-24. Chargers defense stinks, and Ravens defense is excellent. So 24 even feels like that would be difficult to get there for the Chargers, but you never know. Now, final pick. We've got the Bears at the Vikings. Vikings only favored by 3.5 at home, which is a little odd. I thought it would be a little bit more, but
come on. Vikings are winning this one. Josh Dobbs is a beast. You know, he fumbles sometimes, as you and I have talked about before, but you know, I just think that this Vikings team they've been coming together, and this Bears team, much like I was saying about the Chargers, they find a way to lose.
Yeah.
And
last week
they might get a lead and they'll take their foot off the gas and blow the lead. They did it last week. They did it against the Broncos.
It's true.
You know, I think even if the Bears get out and start and punch the Vikings in the mouth, I think they're going to find a way to lose. So
found a way.
Mhm.
I agree. I got Vikings 27-20. I really wanted to give it to the Bears, honestly. I was thinking about it. I'm like, you know, they've been playing hard. But then I really thought about that loss to the Lions, and I'm like, oh, that's just how you know, again, they're a team that finds a way to lose. But that's a
Bears
wrap
still suck. That's
on
what
the
they say.
picks. That's it for the week 12 picks. And overall, that's going to wrap up episode 47 as well.
Shout out. 47. Thanks again for having me. And you know, let's see who wins and gets to eat these turkey legs on Thursday, huh?
Yeah, let's see.
We got some big games coming up. So
and then a bigger game on Friday, not the one at night with the Jets and Dolphins, but our one with the Turkey Bowl, friendly Turkey Bowl. That'll be the big one. We got to link up though. We got that deadly connection with the QB tight end receiver type connection. But thanks, Jay, for joining in. It was a pleasure to have you. I look forward to it in the future. Thank you, everyone, for listening in. And as always, make sure to check us out. Give us a follow on Spotify, YouTube, and Instagram, all at Mad Talk Sports, to keep up with all of our new content. And you will hear from us and you will see us again next week.